Happy Sunday. We have some yeast in a bowl and we're gonna try to start this live by doing some bread dough. And this is just 2 teaspoons instant yeast with a little bit of homemade oat milk. I'm gonna try to make some bread with homemade oat milk and see how that goes. So yeah, just following a simple recipe that we're gonna tinker with. This is my buttermilk bread recipe that is available on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on Delish. Jesus. And I noticed something funny this week when I was looking up one of my recipes, because I do that from time to time to refer back to my own recipes and cook one of them. And I noticed that Delish wrote over my zucchini salad recipe. And so if you search like zucchini salad Delish, it's going to be really funny because they shot a beautiful photo for a new recipe that was developed by, I think, Francesca. But the 2 comments sitting at the bottom of the page are comments about my recipe. So I just thought that gave me a little chuckle this week. You can try to erase me, but I exist. I have existed. Alright, so we're gonna make this bread recipe. Buttermilk bread, delish. And it's not got great reviews, which is fine, because we're not gonna follow it anyway. I'm going to make a walnut swirl with dried cranberries bread. So I'm just working off of this basic recipe and like modifying it as I'd like. So I was supposed to feed this yeast with honey, but I didn't. But I hope it's not too late. And I'm just going to use my gingerbread spiced whipped honey here because why not? Fun flavors. Just going to clean out this jar here. Swirl it in. And then the next one, this recipe uses a stand mixer, but I'm just going to do it by hand, so. I mean, okay, writing over recipes is not new. We've done that before, and I'm honestly not that offended, but I was just like, at least wipe the comments, you know? But I guess because the comments came with ratings and they didn't want to wipe the ratings, it's just really weird to have comments referring to a recipe that isn't the one they have up anymore. We rewrite recipes and write over them on site for various reasons, mostly having to do with SEO search optimization. So I get it. But it's weird to be writing off of another recipe's comments and ratings when you're writing over that recipe. I mean, it's media. Media is petty. People think that, like, just because it's a company with a platform and an audience and it has establishment behind it, that it's got a sense of morality only so far as it gains its profits. Like, there is no shame in capitalism. That's kind of the gist of things. It's just whatever gets you money and profit wins. That is the metric. I bought some bitter melon at the farmer's market again. I have been enjoying it. I got 6 of them for $7. Not bad. Alright, let's continue with our recipe then. I'm going to go in with a little bit of hot honey as well. That's the honey. And I've learned from inside sources that they're pivoting away from YouTube videos now because I guess it's not working for them. So I thought that was funny. Alright, instead of buttermilk, which is what my original recipe calls for, I'm just going to add in some oat milk, which is literally just oats and water blended together. And I think this calls for a cup, so 8 ounces, more or less. Don't worry, we'll use the rest of that oat milk for our carrot cake, or carrot cornbread, I think is what I want to make. I don't know how hot honey keeps. I think it keeps, it's sugar. It's mostly sugar. So sugar doesn't really spoil. As long as you keep your utensils and your jars clean, it should be fine. Heat treating honey just means that you're killing all the, raw honey benefits. You're just kind of like degrading the honey. It doesn't mean that you're gonna spoil the honey. Spoiling comes from bacteria. So it's just how clean you are in that cooking process and that storing process. And I was supposed to do melted butter for this, but I don't have melted butter. But what I do have is walnuts. I ground up some raw walnuts, so instead of fat, we'll just use walnuts. I don't know why there's paper towel shreds in here, that's disturbing. All right. Maybe I ground up a paper towel in here. All right, fiber. All right, so that's walnuts substituting for some butter. And then we'll go in with salt. I don't have pre-ground salt. So let me grind some salt. Hi, Indiana. Originally I called for a teaspoon and a quarter of kosher salt. That should be fine. Usually a teaspoon of kosher salt is like 5 grams. Alright, now we're going to go in with 3 cups of, originally calling for bread flour, but we're going to do a mixture of flours. Some whole wheat pastry. some bread flour. So 3 cups of flour is usually 390 grams, but because I'm using some whole wheat flour, I might consider decreasing that down to 320 because whole wheat tends to absorb more. So I have 334 here. That sounds good. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of millet for texture. And a little bit of wheat bran, which will absorb even more water up. Let's see how this mixes. So I'm supposed to be working this dough in the stand mixer for 7 to 10 minutes, which I'm definitely not going to do. I don't even want to break out the stand mixer, so we're just going to mix this by hand. Let it develop. The gluten will develop on its own as you let it rest. But we will work it. Quite sticky right now, so I'm actually just gonna let it rest on its own so that the gluten can kind of pull together a little bit more without me having to exert too much energy because I ain't got none. Dough tastes good. I'm going to cover it with a towel. We'll set a timer for half an hour and let it rest. And in the meantime, we can wash some of our veggies and make our cornbread batter. And maybe have a snack. And I'll read your comments too. Alright, I'm going to read some of your comments and catch up a little bit. So, about writing over recipes, they can't delete the whole page because they need to retain the URL because the URL is really important for SEO purposes. So, like, it currently says something like, delish.com/recipe/zucchini-recipe. And if they get rid of that page, they can't, I don't think they can use that URL anymore, so they have to just, like, write over. But, yeah, they didn't clear the comments. Supposedly the comments are, like, hosted by a third-party company. But they can manually delete the comments, so I don't know. Anyway, moving on. I'm gonna sit on down. I bought some carrots and celery from the farmer's market that we can clean. I also bought some pretty cucumbers and this mysterious tarragon looking like herb that I don't remember what it's called. Oh, it's so nice to sit. I am stable. My fatigue is pretty bad. I basically went out to the farmer's market and walked back, and I was already exhausted. And I really want to cook right now, but my body is really tired, which is why I decided to do something slow, like bread. And I also feel like my body has been yearning for bread. I also bought some cheese, and I thought it would be nice to eat it with bread. So that's why we're doing some baking today. That's it. Just trying to take it easy. I know some people say they take it day by day. I literally just take it like an hour at a time now, because I don't know when my energy is gonna just completely crash. I think I'm maybe like a 2.5 out of 10 energy right now. I have been having some pretty bad headaches that are keeping me from sleeping or staying asleep or going back to sleep or just concentrating on literally anything else except the pain. It was pretty bad yesterday. I don't have it yet today, but it tends to come at either morning or nighttime. Never really starts in the afternoon for some reason. So that is a lingering symptom that is quite distracting. Congratulations on your master's thesis completion. Congratulations on WorldCon. I have no idea what that is, but that does sound very exciting. Hi June， 你最近好点了吗？睡前来和你打个招呼，要好好照顾自己啊，爱你。Thank you. I am, I guess, improving. My dad actually just went to a Chinese doctor yesterday. Accompanying a friend, and he was there, so he decided to ask the Chinese doctor, like traditional Chinese medicine doctor, if he's been getting patients coming in for long COVID concerns, and he was like, yeah, a lot. And my dad was like, well, what are the symptoms that you've been seeing? And he's like, well, it's all over the place, but some people can have a fever, and it can last up to 2 to 4 weeks. Obviously, I have Epstein-Barr virus active in my system, so it's more than likely that this is an episode of mono for me, but that doesn't mean that it's just mono. I honestly think that this could be a reactivation of mono due to a series of factors, including stress, including long COVID. I saw a study yesterday published in early July about how the SARS-CoV-2 viruses have been linked to the Epstein-Barr virus. So I think these viruses kind of just like collaborate almost together in your system, and when your immune system is like out of defense power, the viruses kind of just take over and make you sick. And every time it happens, your immune system fights or tries to, but it's probably really exhausting for your immune system to deal with, which is probably also what is triggering my autoimmune disease back into play. It's just all of these things kind of compile and compound, and water is great. We love water. I wasn't a 2.5 when I got out of bed. I was like a 5 out of 10. And then I went to the farmer's market feeling like a 5 to a 6 out of 10. I was walking really slowly and just taking my time and trying to stay relaxed. And all the while I was thinking about grandma and how much she must be suffering. They added one more anti-anxiety med to her rotation because she was freaking out. And then less than 2 weeks passed and they decided to double the dosage on that. So I'm guessing she's really not doing well. She's probably panicking. But I've been talking with my aunt and my uncle and my dad, and they're just all of the opinion that like there's literally nothing I can do for her anymore. If I go, she's just gonna beg me to take her home or take her back to her palace, which I can't do, and it's just gonna be me standing there making her feel like I've abandoned her again and again and disappointed her again and again. And but even knowing that, it is still hard to know that she's there suffering alone. So she's always passing through my mind. And that is probably stressful, even unconsciously. So I was walking really slowly to the farmer's market and I bought my veggies. As my bag got heavier with the veggies, I started feeling more tired, and like the last half of my walk was just really draining. And by the time I made it back, I was debating whether or not I wanted to go live, whether or not I wanted to bake bread. And today is like a lull in our heat wave. It was 90s yesterday, it'll be 90s tomorrow. Today we have a high of like 80, I think, which is miraculous. I don't know how, but it feels really nice right now. And I felt like, if I ever bake, probably today is the day, so carpe diem. But as you can see, not a lot of energy. So does magnesium help? I stopped taking magnesium since our last live because some of you stated that it wasn't good for kidneys if it accumulates. So I was waiting for it to kind of like detox for a week, but maybe I'll pop one. And we'll pop a D too. I haven't had a vitamin D supplement in a while either. I don't know anymore, guys. I don't know what works. I don't know what doesn't work. I don't know what harms. That's a lot of things to go on a blood test. I hope you have much better health insurance because that would cost me like $2,000 to get, I think. I don't know, I'm just pulling numbers out my ass. But I went to the urgent care doctor and I was like, can you approve a Epstein-Barr antibody test for me? And his office was like, yeah, we can, but we don't even know how much it costs because it's a very rare test to ask for. So we don't even have a price for it. And I was like, okay. And he was like, you're gonna have to come in, pay $85 to see the doctor. We can write the script for you and we can draw your blood for another $80. And then send it to the lab, and then you have to pay for whatever the test costs. And I was like, oh my God, okay. It's really rough. I would love to know if this is a new case of mono. If I actually did have mono back in college, but sometimes the hoops you have to jump through is just insane. Like energetically and financially, healthcare costs health points to acquire here. is the herb. It looks grassy. And it smells grassy. I don't know, I've just been staring at it for weeks, so I decided this is the week to get it and try it out. Some cute little baby Kirby's. This is a fun song. It's called So Low, spelled S-O space L-O, by Pond, but it's a remix. It's the Andrew Van Weingarten remix. It's a little pop, little dance, little funk. This is one of those herbs that look water repellent. The beads of water form on it. Doesn't ever seem to get actually wet. What a fascinating herb. As I'm washing it, I'm starting to smell it. Interesting. Very interesting. Not sure what that flavor reminds me of. Something though. Like one of those recent Mexican greens that I bought. Very similar flavors. Okay, regarding the cornbread batter, we're just gonna wing it as usual. Okay, but first we're gonna sit. So I have been thinking about healthcare tourism. It's a thing. It's really sad. It's pretty depressing, but yeah, I have been thinking about traveling somewhere to just get all the tests done for a fraction of the price that it would take to get here. And it seems like there's no ridiculous wait lists, like 5 months for a PCP abroad. It really makes you wonder why we have a almost $900 billion defense military budget when people can't even see doctors domestically. Who are we defending against? Yeah, it kind of does look like thick dill. Dill with 3 C's. The prices I was talking about was without health insurance. It's just seeing urgent care, which is not a PCP. It's just like a makeshift doctor. Fasting does wonders. Yeah. I think the past 2 weeks my appetite has returned and I want to eat stuff, and I think part of it might be stress eating. So I'll keep a watch on that. Obviously it's balancing your physical health as well as your mental health. So I don't make the right call all the time. But yeah, that's good to know. I mean, the military, like, we've had songs saying all these things that are becoming clearer and clearer to us now, in my generation at least, about the military-industrial complex. We've had songs since fucking Eisenhower talking about this. So we've known it. We've not gone through it, but I'm going through it now, so I'm starting to see it. Experiencing this is, as counterintuitive as it sounds, amazing. It's great that I'm experiencing this because this is a part of existence, this is a part of my lived experience, and this is very much like me getting fired from a media corporation. Now I understand it. Now there is like praxis to go along with my learning of theory. Now I can live it and internalize it and connect all the dots through my personal experience of, holy shit, yeah, I see it working right in front of me now. It's like reading a fairy tale or a myth, or a horror story or a sci-fi novel and seeing it in reality. So things make a lot more sense now. It's not any better or worse than it was before, but like I understand it more, which is very enriching as much as it is devastating. Just in terms of I don't know, collecting feelings and linking them to my thoughts and integrating everything. ginormous celery. I'm just thankful that at least grandma's care is covered, because I don't know how the fuck I would have been handling all of this. Insurance is a scam. Like, I used to think that life insurance was a scam. You know, you pay every month and then when you die, there's a payout for your beneficiaries. But I'm starting to realize that health insurance is a scam too. You pay and you pay and you pay and they still cover nothing. And then car insurance, I can't speak to that because I don't have a car, thank God, but I'm sure everything is. All insurance is a scam. It'll like pay out the way lottery does. You know, if something horrible happens to you, then it'll save you. But yeah, everything is pretty scammy. So this is another reason why I think one of the most anti-capitalist things I can do is to gradually train myself to not fear death, because capitalism mostly feeds off of fear. We see this in union busting. They will threaten you with all sorts of worst case scenarios that are not true, first of all. It's lies. But they will scare you. They'll threaten you with taking away all benefits if you should rebel against the decorum that the system of exploitation functions off of in any way. You know? How do you have fucking NYU social work school rescinding the acceptance of a graduate student simply because they participated in anti-war protests? How do you have a social school teaching students to stand up for social justice and punishing them when they actually do? So we can say higher education is a scam too. Higher education is a form of insurance for job placement, right? We were all made to think that if we don't have a college degree, we won't have a livelihood because every job requires a college degree. Well, nobody ever fucking asked me to even show them my college diploma. It's been sitting rolled up, crinkled. I found it at my mom's house since I graduated. So I don't know, how true is that? And then I learned all sorts of things about social justice and theory in school. And then I'm like, oh, our society actually functions not like that. Cool. And I can see now why people buy, prepped salad greens and stuff, because doing this is exhausting when you don't have energy. But everything comes at a cost. Then you have listeria breakouts and all that shit. Half an hour is up. Let's check on our bread dough. I'm gonna pick out this one herb that looks like it's rotting. It is poofy. Much more cohesive, doesn't really stick to my wet hands anymore. Half an hour does a lot for you. This is actually something that a viewer told me. They were trying to make my brioche recipe without a stand mixer, and they were like, holy shit. I just had to let it rest overnight, and then it worked well. And then other people were like, yeah, you could just let the gluten rest on its own and it can develop. Which makes sense, because in restaurants when we did sourdough, we always auto-leased the dough with just water and flour, and then it would develop the gluten on its own. And I was like, ah. Theory and praxis. See it coming into play. Everyone can teach you something. If you want to learn, that is. But if you don't want to learn, then nobody can teach you anything. Alright, great. We'll let it rest another half an hour, and then it's just passively making itself stronger. There's like a slight gingerbread flavor coming out from that honey. Put another half hour on the timer. We should make a celery shake. fresh figs for sale. Yes. This is a coffee flavored protein shake that I didn't finish yesterday. Because yesterday people were telling me that caffeine is great for headaches. And I was like, okay, let's try it. 41% battery. All right, we're good. I'm gonna throw some carrot greens in there too. And maybe some of these more yellower leaves. All right, we're gonna have some noise. Okay. Didn't really impact the flavor much. It's a little bit less sweet because the protein powders, sweeteners have been diluted by the root vegetables. I can taste the mouthfeel going a little more fibrous, but Flavors are fine. I did put a little bit of ginger in my coffee smoothie yesterday too, so I think the ginger and the celery are connecting, and then the ginger and the coffee are connecting, and then so everybody's kind of just like holding hands together. Oh, so I saw the comment. I think Kathy maybe said it before she had to leave. And she was like, don't try to fix the world on your own. Listen, there's nobody who can fix the world. But I think it is important to recognize how the world's conditions are simply a macrocosm of what happens internally, a microcosm. And I think there is a certain degree of delusion that I am not able to achieve that maybe others can achieve. And I'm not saying delusion in a derogatory way at all. I think delusion is for sure a survival tactic and skill that is necessary when we have such a high degree of consciousness and cognitive ability. But I don't think I have that ability to delude myself from what's happening in the world. And so even when I'm not trying to like fix anything, I burnt out in January. I think it just affects us all to see shit like genocide happen in real time. And there's really only so much we can do to stop this degrading of self. Just like how there's only so much we can do to stop a genocide. Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. It is totally possible. Is it probable? It's not an individual project. It takes having a social network to catch you, friends and family to support you. It takes having accessible healthcare. It takes having doctors who understand you and your health history. It takes a whole industry that is not purely motivated by profit to actually find solutions to issues that exist rather than creating problems to then manufacture solutions for to generate profit. It takes a lot to keep us all in a safe and secure place, and currently we don't have that, and some of us have less than others of all of those things that can help us stay healthy. And so I think it's just really realistic and kind to ourselves and our existence and our cognition to recognize and acknowledge that individually we have varying degrees of access to these levels of care, and when we don't have them in place, things will happen, and death is natural and decline is natural as well. So I'm not going to push myself to do everything I possibly can to stay healthy when the world itself is not healthy. It is adding additional strain onto an individual to tell them to take steps to like secure themselves when it's not possible. It's just not feasible. I can take some steps for sure. I can try to watch my diet and what I eat, but like, am I going to be able to know everything? No, because doctors don't even know everything. Scientists don't even know everything. They know more than I do, which is why we pay money for their services to get their advice and assistance. But when the whole system is functioning off of this like broken logic that doesn't actually seek to solve problems at the core of it, then you have to start finding alternative ways of solving issues as they pop up. And you're not going to be able to solve all of them, and I'm telling myself that that is okay. I'm listening to another song right now. It's quite groovy. It's by Delegation. It's a collab with Danny Kane called Party Forever. It's a Danny Kane remix. Kane is spelled Kane. So if you want to groove along. yes, it makes the shake thicker, but also chalkier because of the fibers. You can feel like the slight fibrous grains. So if you are a texture person, this did not elevate the texture of the smoothie for me. It kind of feels like soft edible sandpaper going across my tongue. I think the skill that I'm working most on right now is giving myself some patience and being okay while acknowledging that my body is definitely growing weaker. I'm losing a lot of my muscle. I'm feeling weaker. I'm not able to physically be as active anymore, even when it just comes to household tasks. It took me 3 hours to do half of the household cleaning that I usually can accomplish in 2 hours. So I'm basically working at a third of my normal speed, and this might be like a long-term condition that I have to adjust to. So I'm just grieving and accepting and coping as best as I can. Things take time to get used to. It's okay to feel sadness and anger and depression. And I will feel all of those things very much. And there's also dealing with people who don't agree with you and tell you that your condition isn't that bad, and then make you second guess your own condition and situation. It happens to a lot of people who live with, like, I guess the invisible category of disabilities. So just trying to be understanding of why those critiques are given. One, they care about you, they want to see you feel better. So to hear you being submitted and helpless makes them feel awful. And two, hearing you be submitted and helpless, and to a certain degree hopeless about recovering to the previous state, is probably also triggering for them, because they don't want to think of themselves as potentially, someone who will end up in a situation where they can't work out, because it actually damages them even more when they do work out. So just being cognizant of the fact that some people will help you in the ways that they feel are accessible to them, and it might not be useful for you. And just trying to understand that a little bit more. I'm plugging you in so that we don't run out of battery. A lot to learn as things shift, and I feel like the way that we live will probably end up with us having society where a lot of people are going to be sicker in the next decade. And I think my computer just died. Okay. Let me get my charger. just like how your laptop won't hold as much power as it used to, we will also not hold as much power as we used to. All right, another half hour has passed. So let's decide how we want to bake this. Do we want a loaf? Do we want buns? Hi, Memo. You came to visit us? Baby. Hi, baby. Oh yeah, and I cracked my floor. As you can see, I dropped a Pyrex bowl right on the floor, and it not only broke the bowl into a million pieces, it cracked my floor. So my life is just slowly falling apart, but we good. We'll be fine. Right, Memo? We get along? We get by? Even though you reject all the food I give you and I had to pop open 4 cans for you to eat 2 bites out of each? Hmm? Little spoiled prince. Bread dough time, y'all. Getting very distracted. Even doing this live, I'm acknowledging the ways in which I'm ignoring my body's needs. Like right now, my legs are telling me they don't want to be standing anymore. And I'm not listening. And that's not good. Okay, for this bread, I have to decide if I want a loaf or a pan. And I think I want a pan because then I can make rolls and it'll make it also bake faster than if I were to make a tall loaf, which will bake slower. I want to add in walnut and cranberries into some. Let me see how much dough we have to work with so I can roughly estimate. We have about 700 grams of dough. Okay. 700 divided by 12. Who wants to put that into a machine and tell me? Actually, that's relatively easy. It's about 70 grams each, minus 2 extra. So 65, 63 grams each. I'm gonna make a little walnut mixture. Let's add a little sugar. A little cinnamon. Maybe a little nutmeg, maybe a little ginger. Ginger sounds great, actually. Ginger with walnut, one of my favorite combos. I'm thinking about rolling out the dough almost like a cinnamon roll, and then just putting this in the middle. What do we think about that? I think I need a little more cinnamon in here. I think Memo's probably waiting for me to feed him, but he didn't finish his dinner plate yesterday. And then he woke me up at 7 to give him new food, so I did. And then he proceeded to not finish that either, so. I think he can wait a little longer. Fred would never. But Memo is great in his own ways. He's just very prissy when it comes to food, for sure. Gonna grease our pan with some butter. Hi Memo, hiding behind my chair. What foods don't have carrageenan? I know they're all awful. And Memo, for some reason, loves Fancy Feast, which is owned by Nestle. I would love for him to not be so picky about food. But I made him homemade chicken and salmon and he rejected that too, so that kind of ruined my plans. Okay, that's good. Does the Chewy generic brand have it? Tiny Tiger? Aaron encouraged me to like try the Tiny Tiger out. Oh, this is a mess. It's turning into a mess. Walnut sugar is now entering my slippers. Okay, we'll let this proof for about half an hour and then we'll bake. In the meantime, let's whip up our cornbread. Let's use up grandma's butter because I decay while we're keeping it in there. I do need a trash can for now. That was his name already. I saw it on the adoption site, and besides him looking mega cute, I was like, that, I love that name. Okay, so we have 3 tablespoons of butter here. I'm gonna melt it. So Memo definitely has some sort of dental issue, but he is also 13 and a half, and we're gonna have to run blood tests to see if he can be put under for any dental cleanings and removals. I'm too weak right now to go through the medical stuff for him, so I'm just trying to add some dental powders and treats. Yesterday when he was being super picky about food, he absolutely did not reject treats, which are hard to chew. And so I feel like if it really hurt him, he would not have been eating literally all the treats that I gave him. I think he's just being a bit of a picky asshole eater right now. Cornbread is basically like a not too sweet cake made with cornmeal, yellow cornmeal. I'm going to be using our egg whites from last time and maybe a little bit of honey. Yeah, why not? Let's use our hot honey. Meow what? Meow what, Memo? You want food? If I give you food, will you promise you're gonna eat it? Please? Please, please, please? Did you finish your other food? I didn't even check yet. I have 4 cans of open food in the fridge for you, half of which went into the trash yesterday. You think I'm made of money? Okay. All right. little bit of muscovado sugar too. Nutmeg. I know, not traditional at all, right? I know. Some black pepper. A little bit of salt. You didn't finish it. Can you finish it? Oh, there goes an eggshell. Okay. We might just have to eat the eggshell. I don't know if I can fish that out. I give up. I give up. Carrot. This is obviously a sacrilegious carrot bread or cornbread. Don't. Don't get at me. All right, whole wheat flour, we're gonna finish this off. A little bit of cassava flour. And cornmeal. I do have whole corn kernels. We can add some in. We also have to add in some baking powder and soda. That was oat milk. Are we trying to get fancy with herbs now? I honestly think I just want a little more black pepper. Oh, we could put in that random farmer's market pepper that we got last time. I don't even know if that shit is hot, but let's use it. I'm not gonna use it otherwise. A random one that came. Let's see if it's hot. Yeah, you're a little hot. I was actually thinking of adding some strawberry jam to this too, so we might get really wild. That bread is proofing so damn fast. Holy shit. I'm gonna have to set it over a tray. It's about to explode with all the fillings. Oh yeah, once you have a Vitamix, you can make flour out of anything. The texture of this actually looks quite good without the strawberry jam, so we might skip it because I don't want to fuck with the moisture too much. But I'll eat a little bit of the jam later, for sure. Should have saved one of those butter packets for greasing, but we will do it with coconut oil. I'm coating the oil on the outside of the pan that is excess on my hands because then it can get a nice little seasoning while it bakes too. Just the thinnest layer possible. Okay. I think we're gonna bake at 375 for both of these. And I'm gonna toast some peanuts and cashews while we're preheating the oven. Okay, somebody's really angry outside, and it's making me angry too, and I don't like that. Alright. I'm gonna go pee. I'll be back. Buffet. I'm gonna tuck in some of these cranberries. I feel like they're gonna burn. They're gonna burn so bad. Yes. Once you have mono, you have it forever. Like, not the disease, the virus that caused the disease. A lot of viruses stay within our bodies. So is the case with COVID. That whole phase of the pandemic where they were talking about building herd immunity was like totally fake news because you can't build immunity against viruses. So people aren't like completely, totally pissed that we just have fake news all the time in our lives. But I guess that's the way that the world has always been. There are no cranberries in my cornbread. I'm so sorry to report. They are in my walnut bread. But what I can add, that I forgot to add, is poppy seed. on a timer to check on our nuts. Let's read some comments. I feel like you guys are dropping much wisdom. Maybe also let's move my phone away from the oven so we don't cook it. Okay. Let's see. We're rolling up. I've tried to hide treats and Memo's food before. He'll just go in for the treat. If I grind up the greenies, he won't eat it. For some reason, I used to grind up greenies as like a food topper for Fred. He would gobble that shit up. Memo hates it. He won't even touch it if I just leave him a plate of ground up greenies. He's so picky. I don't understand. I also like brown butter on my cornbread, but like, I just don't have the energy to brown stuff right now. I can't wait to get that bite of cornbread with the eggshell in it. I thought I would find it as I was mixing it. I did not find it as I was mixing it. I was gonna put something else in the cornbread that I forgot. Oh, cheese. That's okay. We'll just eat cheese on it. We'll melt the cheese onto it. Check up on our nuts. I do smell them, which might not be a good thing. .375 is a very dangerous temperature to toast nuts at. I realize that, but I also really love dark toasted nuts. More carcinogens, I suppose, but cornmeal that it's so expensive that you can't make cornbread. I guess you can have healthcare, but not cornmeal. I mean, that's a good trade-off. Thank you, Erin, for your well wishes. Chronic fatigue syndrome, I feel like, is going to be affecting more and more people as time goes on. So at least there will be less instances of well-intentioned gaslighting, and just more awareness of the symptoms and conditions and how much they can limit your day-to-day life. I think that, being alone and like desocialized due to more invisible conditions add to the pain. And so my hope is that, if we're going the way of more people getting long COVID, that, over time people will be like, I get it now. Oh my God. Arizona is 112 degrees before noon? I just feel like this is untenable, y'all. Like, we keep having these high temperatures and then people have to crank up their ACs to live, and then we just make the air hotter and hotter with more and more AC usage. Like, how long can we sustain this kind of... Listen. Cheers. Oh my Lord. I don't know what to say, y'all. But I think my nuts are burning. They sure are. Just a little bit burny. I guess you know where my oven's hot zones are now. Some of them did get too toasty. Don't worry. We'll pick them out. I won't eat them. But we live and we learn. Another 10 minutes for our baked goods. Enjoy your walk. Normally today would have been a great day for a walk, but unfortunately I don't think my body can handle it. The heat in New York has been very different too. It's like you said, very oppressive. Like the mixture of temperature and humidity just feels like somebody's suffocating you. And if you go into the subways these days, it is rough. I'm eating my bean salad with my carrot scrap. Regarding how having AC interferes with self-regulation of temperature, I have always prided myself on the fact that I don't need AC. But I think I honestly, with mono and everything that happened at the beginning of July, might have given myself some heat poisoning at home by not turning on the AC. But it's different. The heat this year is different. I'm just picking out some nuts to snack on. Okay, well, whatever the case may be, we are all getting sicker, the planet's getting sicker, and we just have to attune to it, right? This is what evolution means. It's not the end of the world, it's just, can we survive it? This has been the trajectory of our lifetimes, even before we were alive, so. There is a certain sense of hopelessness that I think we have to process through in order to get to thinking about how to move forward. Because we will move forward no matter what. It's not even a choice. We're just driven by life forces and death drives, both of them. It's not so much survival of the fittest anymore as survival of the luckiest, I think. Have a good time at work. I'm thinking about all of those office buildings that just blast their ACs until everyone's fucking frozen. And I think about how much energy is wasted there, and those places just can't get their shit together to not waste energy like that. That hurts too. Think about like how many people who don't have AC can use that AC. I'm basically gonna sit here with you guys until the baked goods come out of the oven, and then I will bid you adieu. But thank you for tuning in today and keeping me company. Survival of the richest? Well, I'm glad I won't be here that long. Is there anything you're looking forward to over the next week? Does anybody watch their own Instagram stories after you post them? Or am I just a freak? Have fun at your second job, or just survive it. Oh, grocery store in Williamsburg whose dairy and meat section was a giant walk-in fridge. Is it non-existent anymore? I would love to go. Wishing you well too, thank you. People like their own post on IG? I didn't know that was a thing. Sometimes I misclick and I get very embarrassed. I just put 10 more minutes on the counter, timer, whatever you want to call it. corporate food town. Love it. I think the funnest thing on IG that happened to me this week is with all of the posting about the Olympics. You know, all the memes that came out of like I think it was the South Korean shooter, the female shooter, and like how sleek and sexy her whole like performance was basically. And then there was the Turkish shooter, the dude. And there's like a lot of memes now putting two of them together. And the first meme that I saw of them side by side was me sadly confirming how straight I am, because I was just like, everybody's saying how they're questioning their sexuality because of the South Korean shooter and how sexy her whole thing vibe is, and I'm just like, I see them side by side, and honestly I would date the man over the woman. And I was like, yeah, I don't even think I'm bi at this point. I don't think I'm gonna be gay in this lifetime, sadly. But that was fun. The Olympics happening alongside the timeline of a genocide. So weird. Let's go check up on our baked goods. It feels so good to squat down like this. I know you basically can't see me, but my body is happy here. I'm gonna drop the temperature down to 350. And we're gonna put the peanuts somewhere. You can hear sounds from the street. I can't even hear it because I have headphones in. I don't know why, but lately I've been yearning for Jif style peanut butter. You know, the type that is like all homogenized with palm oil. And I feel like I'm gonna cave soon because I've been thinking about it for maybe 5 months now. I'm trying not to. participate in the products of palm oil usage, but Constitution is running weaker. I guess it is. I don't know. I'm not sure if it is a childhood food. I mean, I think most of the peanut butter that I was eating when I was growing up was not natural. I don't think natural peanut butter was a thing until much later. So I guess yes. If you think about Uncrustables and all of that, they were all not made with natural peanut butter. I also think that like every time I get sick, my brain is like, YOLO bitch, you're about to die, what do you care? Which I guess is why like old people have no problem pushing us into genocide and war, because they're like, I'm a die. Let's do one last hoo-ha before I die. Which is why we should have age limits on who gets to fucking be president. You know? Maybe? If we can roll back human rights we've had for decades, maybe we can roll back the upper age limit for US pres. I think people will do anything to feel alive, and sometimes the easiest way to do that is to serve death to others. But I think if we get rid of the fear of death a little bit more, maybe we don't have to do this stupid shit anymore. We did it, y'all. We baked stuff. There's our cornbread with poppy seed and carrots and whole corn kernels. And here is our walnut craisin bread. Folks, take care of yourself as best as you can, and I will try to do the same. Capiche? Bye, chef.